Normalization of ties with the UAE will soon pave the way for treaties with more Arab countries. Oman and Bahrain applauded the UAE peace accord. Sudan appears to be exploring ties in secret. Saudi Arabia allowed the Israeli El Al flight to cross over its airspace today. Netanyahu said that these developments, all from this month, show that the Palestinian Authority has lost its decades-long veto on Arab nations making peace with the Jewish state. With me now is Yehuda Glick, a former Likud party Knesset member, and Ashraf al-Ajrami, a former Palestinian Authority Minister of Detainees Affairs. Ashraf, I'd like to start with you with a question, if I may, and just note that Israel is making peace with other Arab nations in the Gulf. Do you think it's time, finally, for the Palestinian Authority to at least answer the phone of President Trump or Jared Kushner to talk with the White House?
I think it is a very sad day for Palestinians because one of the Arab countries goes out from the Arab consensus about the Arab Peace Initiative, which means that peace for lands for peace. This formula that the Arab League adopted in 2002 now is broken by the some of Arab countries. But there is no peace between Israel and Arabs without Palestinians, because the real conflict with Palestinians, not with the Emirates. It is maybe the price that Netanyahu got from Emirates and maybe other countries.
Well, Ashraf, you're saying that the real conflict is with the Palestinians, so that Israel cannot make peace with any other country at all unless it's about the Palestinians? Are the Palestinians able to veto any peace deal?
No, we have no veto to prevent any of the Arab countries to go to a relationship with Israel. But if it wants to break the Arab consensus. But the Israeli society and the Israeli government will do mistaken if they prevent peace with Palestinians, because we are here and the conflict is here. They can get normalization, they can get cooperation from Arab countries, but they cannot get peace. Peace with Palestinians, normalization with Arabs, cooperation with Arabs, but peace with Palestinians, security with Palestinians. No Arab country threatens Israel. The only conflict, the only one, is with Palestinians here.
All right, so let me get Yehuda Glick to respond to that. This is ignoring the Palestinian conflict.
Shalom, Ashraf, and shalom to all people watching this wonderful interview. Unfortunately, once again, we hear Ashraf is continuing the Palestinian heritage, the Palestinian tradition, always to be sure to miss an opportunity. We see here in front of our eyes a historical, wonderful day where peace is being spread. Now, some people think that peace means destroying settlements. That's peace for them. Some people don't understand that peace is peace, means peace. And if we see, and very happily see, that there's a country that's making peace with Israel, and peace means normalization, and peace means, and the idea that peace, people used to say peace you make with enemies. No, peace you make with people who want to make peace with you. And that is what we're seeing right now. We are seeing the Arab world understanding that the Palestinian world has been a blockage to peace, has been an obstacle to peace for so many years. And again, they're missing their opportunity. And it's really a very sad day for the Palestinians that their leadership does not understand that they have a chance, an opportunity to join a global peace event that's taking place that'll bring peace. And instead of that, they're continuing repeating things that were said 10 decades and decades ago. And again, they're missing their opportunity. They're making peace.
Ashraf, do you have a response to that you're missing an opportunity here?
Yeah, then there is no opportunity. Peace for peace is not active for us. It is not the formula that we can accept. We want lands for peace. We want an independent Palestinian state. The whole world, Europeans, even United States of America before Trump and maybe after Trump, they adopted the formula that Israel should withdraw from the occupied territories from 1967, and Palestinian state will be established on these territories. After that, we'll have peace with Palestinians, normalization with Arab world, everything. But peace for peace, we cannot accept. We are fighting for our national rights. Without accepting our national rights, there is no peace from the Palestinian point of view.
Okay.
Even peace with Arabs didn't succeed. I want to remind you that Israel had two agreements with Egypt and Jordan. And there is no normalization even with these people, with Jordanians and with Egyptians. The Arab people, the Arab countries, societies don't accept the formula without having Palestinian independent state.
All right, Yehuda, do you have a response to that? Can you jump in here?
Yeah, we can say the response is very simple. The train has gone ahead. Anybody who knows and anybody sees rationally the situation in this area understands that a Palestinian state is something that is talking about the past. It's not existing. A Palestinian state is something that the Palestinians turned down again and again by very generous offers by Ehud Barak and by Ehud Olmert. And I'm not even talking about the partition agreement that was offered to them in 1947. They turned it down, which means they don't want a Palestinian state. And today we see that the situation, the facts on the ground are that the Palestinians have turned down everything. The Palestinians have turned down every single offer for a Palestinian state. They want to continue fighting, hoping they're going to get everything. They're not going to get everything.
Ashraf, Yehuda's point seems to be that the Palestinian government, perhaps at the expense of the people who could benefit, they're putting their heads in the sand and ignoring the fact Israel is making peace with other nations and they're normalizing ties, and you have to accept that and maybe come back to the table.
We cannot accept that. We know that this is a reality. We admit that Arab countries will go to relationship with Israel. But we as Palestinian people cannot accept less than one independent state on the occupied territories. If the Israelis don't offer us this formula, we cannot go to peace. Even when they spoke about Ehud Barak and Ehud Olmert, they stopped negotiations and they went to elections before ending negotiations. Palestinians didn't refuse a formula, lands for peace at all. And we are ready to start negotiations immediately on the formula of lands for peace. If there's no formula that means lands for peace, Palestinians cannot be on the table. And there is no peace without Palestinians, no security without Palestinians, no stability without Palestinians. The Israelis should understand that the conflict with us, not with the United States of America, not with Arab countries, not with Europe, it is with the Palestinian people. If there is no two-state solution, it will be one-state solution that Palestinians and Israelis alike with equal rights. We will fight to have one-state solution if there is no two-state solution. If they are agree and now they are happy to destroy the two-state solution, Palestinian people will go to the one-state solution with equal rights.
All right, so Yehuda, can you hang on?
Jewish state.
Yehuda, your response to the fight perhaps moving from a two-state solution to a one-state solution, like you just heard Ashraf say, that the Palestinian conflict is not over at all.
First of all, we definitely prefer the one-state solution over the two-state solution. The two-state is not a solution. The two-state is only encouraging more and more friction, which will not bring to any hope. But again, I'm saying this, and I'm really in pain. The Palestinian population living here, Israel is not going to stop its development, and we're going to continue becoming a more modern country, and we're going to continue developing our countries, and our GDP is going to continue growing to over $50,000 annually per family. And if the Palestinians want to be part of that success, they're welcome to be part of it. If they want to continue insisting on getting land and getting a state, then they're going to continue, and the Palestinian population are going to continue suffering as they are right now. And we see them suffering. And it's very sad that we can't force the Palestinians to do something that's good for themselves. Anybody who has his eyes open to understand that it's for the Palestinian benefits to participate in this peace development that's happening.
Okay,
If the Palestinians don't want to, if they want to continue living in poverty, if they want to continue fighting and living in war, that's their choice. But they have to know that it's a freedom of choice, and that's what they chose.
Ashraf,
either joining peace or continue fighting.
Ashraf, you were saying no when Yehuda was saying that the Palestinians have rejected every offer put before them.
No, it's not true. It's not true at all. Ehud Barak was in the process of talks, and there was a huge progress, but he couldn't continue ruling. He went to early elections because he had a problem in his government. And Ehud Olmert, you can see what Ehud Olmert said. Ehud Olmert also stopped negotiation and resigned because there was a criminal file against him. The two occasions, Palestinians didn't refuse to continue negotiations and even to reach an understanding about many things, security, swaps, East Jerusalem, everything. There was a huge progress. The two cases, the Israeli government stopped negotiations, not Palestinians, not because there was a problem with negotiations but with Palestinians. It was because the Israeli government stopped negotiations, and we are ready to start negotiating, to resume negotiations from any point. Okay. We want to have to reach an agreement.
So, Yehuda, you're hearing it there that Ashraf is saying the PA wants to negotiate. They're not opposed.
Really, just because Ashraf said it doesn't change history. I'm sure Ashraf's going to try to say that they accepted the partition agreement in 1947 also. But maybe Ashraf should remember where Camp David was and what happened at the end of Camp David. Ask Bill Clinton and ask Yasser Arafat what exactly happened in Camp David. Yasser Arafat said
you don't know.
But I don't want to be stuck in the past. The question is not the past. Ashraf, you need brave leadership to get up and say the past is the past. We want a better future. And everybody who knows, anybody realistic living in the neighborhood understands there's not going to be a Palestinian state here. You're not going to evacuate 700,000 Jews living in Judea and Samaria. You're not going to do that.
All right, Ashraf.
Do you want to continue being right?
Yes. If you want us to be under occupation, third degree citizenship, we cannot accept it. We want to have our dignity and our independent state. If you refuse to have a Palestinian independent state, it will be conflict forever. Okay. Until we have equal rights, even when two states or when once in one state. And I promise you, Yehuda, if we will suffer for a long time, you will suffer for a long time also. It will be explosion and it will be conflict. It will be very, very violent one.